Hi guys, welcome back to my channel once again. In this episode, we are going to talk about these two events, Immemorial Treasure and Defend the Drylands, which is the event boss for Tinted Mirage. So the way I'm going to do this in this video is I'm going to start off by talking about the Immemorial Treasure event, the rewards involved in it, and then move on to how we can obtain the necessary items that we need for this event, and then finally wrap things up with what sort of expectations you should have by the end of the duration for this event as well. So with that said, let's get right to it. So Immemorial Treasure is an event which involves random tile flipping, and you need 5 of these green orbs in order to flip one of the tiles that you see here. And the way you get those items is through the event boss, which I'll be showing you a little later, and you can also choose to buy extra orbs if you wish to. So the problem with this sort of an event is the randomness involved. I've never preferred these sort of events. It's always better to have item exchange, I feel, because that ensures that two players who have the same number of items will get similar sort of rewards. Whereas when you have something like this, it boils down to luck. Someone might be super lucky and he might end up getting really good rewards, and someone who's not so lucky might only end up with rewards half as good, even though he has the same number of items as the other player. So it's never good to have this sort of an event, I feel, and it can be really annoying and really frustrating for some players if they haven't been lucky enough. But having said that, it's something that we cannot control, so we'll just focus on what we can control in this video. So let's also talk about the rewards. As you can see here, this is split into two parts. You have the basic rewards for floors 1 to 4, and then premium rewards for the 5th floor, and this is the case for every 5 floors that you go up. And for the basic rewards, these are all the rewards that are available, but I personally recommend going for the sacred scrolls, since they are probably the hardest to get, and they're also really valuable in terms of getting order and chaos heroes. So I recommend that one. And for floor 5, or rather for every 5th floor, I would recommend going for the ancient lens. It is new and it is also really expensive if you try to get it through diamonds, and getting this will help you stay ahead of other players in your server, and that will give you a bit of an edge when you try to progress ahead of them. Having said that, though, you could also go for the 20 sacred scrolls that are here. That is also pretty good. And if you're going for one of the heroes, I recommend going for one of the order or chaos heroes, and among those I probably prefer going for Anna, and if not, you could also go for Amaterasu, but she's already in the dungeon shop. And I don't recommend going for Gavanna. I think her usage is limited across different game modes. So if you're going for one of the heroes, Anna is one hero that I recommend, but do note that she will only be available from floor 10 onwards. So it'll be like she'll be available on 10, 15 and so on, but not on floor 5. So if you're not going for a hero on floor 5, you could go for, say, the 20 sacred scrolls, or the one that I recommend, the ancient lens. So that is for the nature of the event and the rewards involved, but we actually need these orbs to actually participate in this event. And the way you do that, as I said earlier, is to fight this boss, right? And this boss is, I would say, not as hard as some of the earlier bosses that we have faced when it comes to the event boss related to Tinted Mirage. So the main thing that I want to tell you about this boss is that it has the ability to reduce our attack and energy. So that is one particular thing that you need to make a note of. And the other really important aspect of this boss is this passive, which says that every time we use our one of our heroes uses their ultimate, all our allies attack will reduce over time. So what that means is the more we use our ultimate over time, the amount of damage that we can deal to the boss will keep decreasing, right? So we're going to take advantage of this fact when we fight this boss, and I'll show what I mean in just a second. So having said that, and before we jump into the lineups that we're going to use, let's also talk about the blessings. So the blessings for this boss are not so important. Just make sure that you're not selecting something ridiculous. So for example, if you're not using any tech heroes in your lineup, don't take this blessing. But other than that, you may want to go for blessings that boost your attack, critical rate, your energy, or even your HP. Those would be really useful. So among these, I would pick critical rate. And then for the second one, this one says that if I have energy, I'll be able to regenerate HP. And this one is just for the front row. If you have a lot of martial heroes, you could also go for this one, but since this is for all heroes in my lineup, I would prefer this one. But as I said, they don't seem to matter too much, so I wouldn't worry about it to a large extent. So having said all this, let's now focus on the lineups that we need to use. So this is the lineup that I've gone for, and the artifacts that I've gone for each of these heroes are as you can see here. But since I have high star artifacts, I've used some of these multiple times, but you don't have to do that. For example, you could also do something like, say, you could give him even a low star artifact is totally fine. You could change this as well, maybe give her the Bushido. That is fine, that should work in a similar way. And there are some Mythic 3 equipment that I have here, but even that is not necessary. Even Mythic 2 should work just fine. I'm not too sure about Mythic 1 or lower. That could cause a decrease in the number of orbs that you get. I'm not too sure, but otherwise you should be fine. And now for the next part, once you hit start battle, just make sure that you have auto switched off. And as we saw earlier, every time our heroes use their ultimate, our attack overall will continue to decrease. So since we don't want that, we're not going to use our ultimates at all. But feel free to use either 2x speed or 4x speed, that does not matter. So you can just start the battle, have it in this configuration, and then just sit back and relax. You should be able to get to 80 maybe around when there's about 30 seconds left or something like that. It depends on your overall power. But yeah, you just need to do this and you should be okay, as we will see in just a few more seconds. The boss will keep using his ultimate for every 20 seconds or so, so a couple of your heroes might die, which is completely fine. But this is why we have the likes of Nana and Sylvana, who guarantee the survivability of our team for a longer period of time, and that should be good enough for us to get our 80. And even here, the reason why we use the likes of Clint and Iritel, they, in addition to dealing significant amounts of damage, they are very good at providing attack bonuses to allies. So that is why they are really helpful. And apart from healing, Nana is also able to do that, and of course Angela has the attack buff for the hero that she supports with her doll as well. So this is why I prefer this sort of a team. As you can see, it works really effectively. But there are also other heroes that some of the other players that I've seen they've used successfully, and some of the heroes that come to mind are Carrie, Akashik. I think some players also use Selena, and maybe even Lunox. I think some of these heroes work really well. So that is how you get maximum orbs per day, and as you can see over here, this event will last for 12 days. So if you get 80 orbs per day for 12 days, that will give you a maximum of 960 orbs through the course of the event. and since the Immemorial Treasure event requires you to use 5 orbs to flip one tile, since we'll have a total of 960, that will allow us to flip a maximum of 192 tiles. So this is where I want to talk about the expectations for the event. So there are a total of 36 tiles on each of these floors, and even if you have average luck, say 50-50 sort of luck, right, on average that should allow you to get the ultimate reward on each floor, like after flipping 18 tiles, like on average. So on some floors it could be like you only need to flip 5 or 6, and on other floors you might have to flip like 30 of them. But ultimately, if you're flipping, if you're requiring about 18 or even 19 tiles per floor in order to get the ultimate reward, then you can expect to get the ultimate rewards for the first 10 or 11 floors, which I think is a reasonable outcome and a pretty satisfying result for an event like this. So that should be fine. Anything more than that, I think that would be a bonus, and you should consider yourself to be really lucky. And if it's, say, maybe if you only manage to reach floor 8 or 7 or something like that, you should be really unlucky for that to happen. And assuming you get 80 orbs and that still happens, then that should definitely be an unlucky outcome. But anything even lower than that, say if you're only on floor 5 or 6 by the end of it, then you're definitely doing something wrong, or you should be like super unlucky for something like that to happen. So yeah, floor 10 or 11, something like that, that is a reasonable expectation to have for this event, I feel. Okay, so that is all that I have for you in this video. I hope you found it useful, and for any sort of clarifications, questions, or anything else that you want to ask me about this event or anything else in the game, feel free to join me on my Discord server and we can catch up right there. So yeah, thank you for watching one of my episodes as always, and I will see you in my next video.